मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
रेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
सद्गुणों की साधना श्री परमात्मने नमः।
ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः।
श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता
श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता
अथाष्टादशोऽध्यायः।
अथाष्टादशोऽध्यायः।
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन उवाच
सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो
सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो
तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुम्
तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुम्
त्यागस्य च ऋषिकेश
त्यागस्य च ऋषिकेश
पृथक् केशिनिषूदन
पृथक् केशिनिषूदन।
श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
काम्यानां कर्मणान्यासं
काम्यानां कर्मणान्यासं
सन्न्यासं कवयो विदुः
सन्न्यासं कवयो विदुः
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं
प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणाः
प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणाः
त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके
त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म
न त्याज्यमिति चापरे
न त्याज्यमिति चापरे
निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र
निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र
त्यागे भरतसत्तम
त्यागे भरतसत्तम
त्यागो हि पुरुषव्याघ्र
त्यागो हि पुरुषव्याघ्र
त्रिविधः सम्प्रकीर्तितः
त्रिविधः सम्प्रकीर्तितः
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म
न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत्
न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत्
यज्ञोदानन्तपश्चैव
यज्ञोदानन्तपश्चैव
पावनानि मनीषिणाम्
पावनानि मनीषिणाम्
एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि
एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्
नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः
नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते
मोहात् तस्य परित्यागस्
मोहात् तस्य परित्यागस्
तामसः परिकीर्तितः
तामसः परिकीर्तितः
दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म
दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म
कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत्
कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत्
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागन्
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागन्
नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्
नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्
कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म
कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म
नियतं क्रियतेऽर्जुन
नियतं क्रियतेऽर्जुन
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव
सत्यागः सात्विको मतः
सत्यागः सात्विको मतः
न द्वेष्ट्य कुशलं कर्म
न द्वेष्य कुशलं कर्म
कुशलेनानुषज्यते
कुशलेनानुषज्यते
त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टो
त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टो
मेधावी छिन्न संशयः
मेधावी छिन्न संशयः
न हि देहभृता शक्यन्
न हि देहभृता शक्यन्
त्यक्तुं कर्माण्यशेषतः
त्यक्तुं कर्माण्यशेषतः
यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी
यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी
सत्यागीत्यभिधीयते
सत्यागीत्यभिधीयते
अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च
अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च
त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलम्
त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलम्
भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रेत्य
भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रेत्य
न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्
न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्
पञ्चैतानि महाबाहो
पञ्चैतानि महाबाहो
कारणानि निबोध मे
कारणानि निबोध मे
साङ्ख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि
साङ्ख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि
सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्
सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्
अधिष्ठानं तथा कर्ता
अधिष्ठानं तथा कर्ता
करणै च पृथग्विधम्
करणै च पृथग्विधम्
विविधाश्च पृथक् चेष्टा
विविधाश्च पृथक् चेष्टा
दैवं चैवात्र पञ्चमम्
दैवं चैवात्र पञ्चमम्
श्री गुरुचरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी वरनौ रघुवर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरौ कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जा कहाँ ते, कभी कोविद कही सके कहाँ ते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा, राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर है सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्योता ही मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेली मुख माही, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है, प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरना, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna. In Zoom meeting, if you want to turn off the notification of Zoom chats, then click on the chats and then click on these three dots. Turn off notifications, click on that. Click on the mute option, and now chats notification will not disturb you. Jai Shri Krishna.
सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा।
नमस्कार, जय श्री कृष्ण, जय गुरुदेव। We bow at the in deep reverence at the lotus feet of Yogeshwar Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Param Pujya Swami Shri Govindev Giriji Maharaj, and welcome all our revered Geeta sadhaks who have joined us today for this divine Vivechan session on chapter 18 of Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kasyit Dukkha Bhagavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Praying for happiness of all, I now invite Jyotsna Rana Didi from Vadodara to lead us for the prayers. BA MS qualified, Jyotsna Didi joined Geeta Pariwar in 2022 and is lovingly offering her trainer seva. Didi, Jai Shri Krishna.
जय श्री कृष्ण वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण.
Thank you very much for that soulful and melodious prayer. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. To invoke the light of wisdom, purity, knowledge, and auspiciousness, I now request Bhailal Patel Bhaiya from Ahmedabad to perform the sacred ceremony of Deep Prajalan. A retired teacher, Bhaiya joined Geeta Pariwar in 2023 and is actively offering trainer seva. Bhaiya, Jai Shri Krishna.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Our heartfelt gratitude to Bhaiya for this auspicious Vigraha Darshan and the sacred Deep Prajalan. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji man namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me. Respected Geeta Sadhaks, as we continue our journey of studying the Bhagavad Gita through our Geeta Santa classes, these Vivachan sessions offer us a wonderful opportunity to explore the deeper meaning, spiritual significance, and practical application of every shloka in our daily lives. Today, Moksha Sannyas Yoga. Respected Vikas Vaidya Bhaiya is a mechanical engineer and holds a postgraduate diploma in business management. He is also the founder of an IT company based in Pune. Having lived overseas for nearly 12 years and traveled extensively across different parts of the world, Bhaiya brings with him a truly global perspective and a rich diversity of experience. He is proficient in several languages, including Hindi, Marathi, English, Indonesian, Malay, and Spanish. Yet, alongside his professional accomplishments and global exposures, what is truly inspiring is his deep and unwavering devotion to Bhagavad Gita. For more than last 5 years, Bhaiya has been blessed with the discipline of reciting all 18 chapters of Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā every single day. Within Geeta Pariwar, he serves as a senior trainer and is actively involved in mentoring and training new trainers. He also conducts classes and delivers Vivachan on the Vishnu Sahasranam through Pune Geeta Pariwar and guide Geeta Vratis preparing for prestigious Sringeri Peeth Geeta examination. His sincere dedication to Geeta sadhana has received remarkable recognition. Vaidya successfully completed the Sringeri Peeth Geeta Kanthastha examination and was honored with the first prize by Pujya Jagadguru Shankaracharya ji. With great reverence and anticipation, I now request respected Vikasji Vaidya Bhaiya to kindly take us into the divine wisdom of chapter 18 and guide us on what is the supreme secret of Gita that has power to free us from all worries and anxieties of life. Bhaiya Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna, Dada. We'll discuss the answer to your question, what you have posed just now, how Gita can put an end to all sorrows in life. At the end of session, we'll definitely discuss on this point. Now, before we start discussions on this, let us first remember as to, in the last session, what we had discussed was up to shlok number 52. Vivikta Sevi Lagvashi Yatava Kaya Manasaha Dhyanyo Paro Nityam Vairagyam Samupashiritaha. So one who lives in solitude, Vivikta Sevi, Lagvashi, it's lightly, Yatava Kaya Manasaha, controls his speech, his body and mind, is devoted to meditation, Dhyani Bukaro Nityam, practices detachment, Vairagyam, Samupashiritaha, he progresses towards the realization. Next, continuing with the shlok number 53. Only doing this is enough for taking Anubhuti of Parabrahma? No, there is something more to it. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmama shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So ahankar, the ego, balam, sense of power, I am very powerful. Darpam, pride, kamam, desire, kamana, krodham, anger, parigraham, possessiveness, ye chahiye, wo chahiye, all that possessiveness, vimuchya, giving up, nirmama, without mindness, ye mera hai, wo mera hai, all that, without that, vimuchya, nirmama is that, without mindness, shanta, peaceful, and brahma bhuyaya, for becoming one with Parabrahma, Brahma bhuyaya kalpade, he gets qualified. So in addition to what we discussed in earlier shloka, Vivikta Sivi Lagvashi Yadava Kaya Manasa, Dhyani Uvaru Nityam Vairagyam Samvashita, this shlok says, by giving up ego, ahankaram, power, balam, kamam, desire, anger, krodham, parigraham, possessiveness, and becoming peaceful, shanta, and free from sense of mind, vimuchya nirmama, one becomes fit for realizing Parabrahma. Brahma bhuyaya kalpade. He has not attained Parabrahma, but he has qualified himself. With all these things done, he has now qualified himself for attaining Parabrahma. So in this shloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan identifies the inner obstacles that prevent the spiritual realization and explains how overcoming them leads to the state of Brahma Bhuta. That means oneness with Parabrahma. The first obstacle is definitely ahankar, ego. The false identification of the self with body and mind is that ego creates separation and limits our understanding of our true nature, that we are not the body and mind, we are the soul. Next, balam, sense of power, and darpam, pride. These arise when one identifies with strength, with status, with achievements. Such attitudes, they create arrogance and disconnect us from others. So balam and darpam both are negative things. Shri Krishna Bhagavan then mentions kama, desire, Shatru number 1. Krishna Bhagavan says in many shlokas of Gita, kamana is Vairani number 1. And krodha, anger. Trividan narkasya dandvaram nashimatma, kama krodha lokas tasmat didatrayant. So kama and krodha are the two gateways to the hell. Desire leads to attachment and dissatisfaction. While anger, it arises when the desires are obstructed. Kamana purti hui nahi, so anger is bound to come, isn't it? Together, they disturb the mind and create suffering. Parigraha means the possessiveness. It refers to the tendency to accumulate more and more and cling to the possessions what he already has. This creates a sense of mine. I have earned this. This is mine, which again binds the individual to the material world. Shri Krishna advises, Vimucha, give it up these tendencies. Vimucha. This does not mean suppressing them forcefully, but understanding their nature and gradually letting them go. The result is becoming nirmama. Nirmama is not destroy nirma, but free from possessiveness. This is mine, all that. And shanta, peaceful. Such a person is no longer disturbed by external circumstances and experiences inner stability. Shri Krishna concludes that such a person becomes fit. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, he becomes fit for Parabrahma Bhuyaya, realizing the Parabrahma. This is the state where one transcends individuality and recognizes unity with the universal consciousness. He has not attained Parabrahma. Like if you go from Pune to Mumbai, there is a station that comes before VT. VT is the last station on Central Railway. Before VT comes a station called Masjid Bandar. I don't know why they have not changed the name so far, but anyway, it is called Masjid Bandar. So we have reached that station, not VT until now. We will soon reach. He is already on the way, but he has not reached that last destination of Brahmabodh. He has become qualified. He is on the way just a few feet away from attaining his destination. So in practical terms, this teaching encourages us humility, namrata, simplicity, and self-awareness. By reducing ego and attachment, one experiences greater peace and clarity. In modern life, these obstacles are very relevant. Ahankaram, Vrindarpam, Kamam, Vridam, Parigram, all these. Ego, pride, desire often drive stress and conflict. We know all this. Shri Krishna's teachings, it provides a path to overcome these challenges and achieve inner harmony. Ultimately, this shloka highlights that spiritual realization, it requires inner transformation. Externally, you may be doing any karma, but have you transformed yourself inwardly? By letting ego of negative tendencies, one uncovers his true value. Continuing the discussion, now when he gets that Parabrahma, when he reaches the destination of Viti. Next shloka, Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochite na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktin labate param. Brahma bhuta, one who has realized Parabrahma, now he has attained the destination. Parabrahma he has already realized now. Prasannatma, joyful, serene. Na shochati, does not grieve. Na kankshati, does not desire. Sama, equal, equanimity. Sarveshu bhuteshu, towards all beings. Bhaktim, devotion to me. And Param is supreme. Śrīmad Bhagavan says, one who has realized Parabrahma is joyful, free from sorrow and desire, and equal towards all beings, and attains supreme devotion to God. So this is the reward he gets. He attains supreme devotion to God. So this shloka describes the state of a realized soul who has already realized Parabrahma. What is the state of his mind, his soul? One who has attained Parabrahma realization. Such a person is called Brahmabhuta. Brahmabhuta. Earlier shloka says Brahmabhuta kalpate. Now this kalpate is gone. He has already attained that. So such a person is called Brahmabhuta. Meaning they have transcended the limitations of individuality and recognized their true unity with the universal consciousness, the Parabrahma. The first characteristic is Prasannatma, inner joy. This joy is not dependent on external circumstances. It arises from within as a result of self-realization. Shri Krishna then states, Na shochati, na kankshati. Important principles, na shochati, na kankshati. Such a person neither grieves nor desires. Grief arises from attachment to the past, while desires is directed towards the future, isn't it? Both connect us to past or future. We want to live in present, not in past or future. A realized person lives in the present, free from both past as well as future. So, no kankshati and no shochati. So the next quality then is samatva, equanimity, seeing all being equally. Samatva is the foundation of Bhagavad Gita. Samatva yoga uchyate, Saganadaya says, one who follows this principle of equanimity is a yogi, Gita says. So next quality described in this shloka also is samatva, equanimity, seeing all being equally. This does not mean ignoring their differences, but recognizing that the same divine essence is there in everyone. Such a vision leads to compassion and harmony. Shri Krishna then introduces an important idea. Mad bhaktim labhate param, attains supreme devotion to me. So this devotion comes by the grace of God only. This shows that the true knowledge leads to devotion. When one realizes the divine, devotion arises naturally. So this shloka beautifully unites jnana, knowledge, with bhakti. How attaining jnana will lead you to bhakti. It shows that they are not separate paths, but complementary aspects of the same spiritual realization, jnana and bhakti. In today's life, this state may be very ideal for us to discuss, but it provides a direction for growth, definitely. By practicing detachment, vairagya, self-awareness, and compassion, one can gradually move towards this state of Brahmabhuta. The essence of this shloka is the inner freedom, free from ahangaram, balandarapam, kamam, vardam, parigram, all that mucha. When one is free from sorrow, desire, ego, he experiences true peace and develops deep love for the divine. Man bhakti labhate param. Next shloka. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyashchasmi tattvataha tato man tattvato jnatva vishade tadanantaram. Bhaktya. Bhaktya means through devotion. With bhakti, mam, me, the Supreme. Abhijanati, truly knows. Yavan, as I am. Tattvataha, in reality, in principle. Tata, then, jnatva, knowing, vishate, enters, anantaram, thereafter. Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, once he attains that Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate and then Mad Bhakti Labhate Param, through devotion, one truly understands the Supreme. Knowledge will help you. Bhakti takes you there. Through devotion, one truly understands the Supreme. After knowing him in truth, one enters into him. Tatoman tattvato jnatva vishde tadanantaram. So once you know Parabrahma, you become one with him. To enter into him means to become one with him. There is no difference. So this shloka says that Dvaitavad is gone now. I am different, body is different. That is gone. That is past now. Now me and body is one. That Advaitavad comes into picture. When Tatoman Tattvato Jnata, then Vishade Tadanandaram, he becomes one with me, he enters into me. So this shloka highlights the supreme importance of bhakti, devotion, in realizing the divine. Shri Krishna declares that it is through devotion that one can truly know him. Not just intellectually, but in essence. Intellectually, many people can speak for hours about God. A person with devotion may not be able to speak a single word, but he has understood in essence what is the God. The term Abhijanati means deep experiential knowledge, not theoretical. Experiential knowledge. This is different from theoretical understanding. It involves the direct realization of the divine nature. Shri Krishna emphasizes tattvataha, in truth, knowing him as he really is. This includes understanding both his immanent, that means presence in the world, and his transcendent, that means beyond the world aspects. He is in the world as well as above the world. He has transcended the world also. So both these aspects maybe I think they may appear contradictory, but a true devotee he has understood these two aspects of Bhagavan. That he is immanent, present in the world, and he has transcended the world also. Once this realization is attained, Shri Krishna says, Vishate, that means entering. One enters into him. Vishate tadanantaram. After that, he enters into me. This signifies complete union with the divine. He and divine becomes one. Freedom from individuality. No main, mera, nothing remains. All evaporates and merging with the ultimate reality. Our ultimate destination is that reality, what we call as moksha. That sadhak here tells that moksha, vishate tadanantaram. He enters into God, that means he becomes one with the God. This shloka shows that devotion is not merely an emotional practice, but a powerful means of knowledge and realization. Through love, through surrender, samarpan, and through faith, shraddha, the heart becomes purified and the truth is revealed. Shri Krishna's teachings integrates all the paths, karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. While action, karma, purifies the mind, jnana, knowledge, clarifies the understanding. And devotion completes the journey by connecting the individual with the divine. So for people like us who are newcomers for Adhyatma, for spirituality, our path starts with Karma Yoga. Then we further elevate ourselves to Jnana Yoga and ultimately Bhakti Yoga, which will help us getting united with the God. So Krishna has explained these three, all the three. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. In practical terms, devotion can be expressed through prayer, through meditation, through service, seva, and through remembrance of God, Namasmaran. It involves cultivating a relationship with the Supreme based on love and trust. In today's life, this teaching is deeply relevant. In the life where we have stress and complexity, devotion provides us inner strength, peace of mind, and purpose of our life. Ultimately, Shri Krishna teaches that the highest realization is not achieved by intellect alone, buddhi sirf kaam ki nahi hai, but by a combination of knowledge and devotion. Buddhi helps you to attain knowledge. Ultimately, knowledge and devotion both are required. Through sincere devotion, one experiences the divine and attains liberation, moksha, vishate tadanantaram. Next shloka. सर्वकर्माण्य सदा कुर्वाणो मद्व्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादाद्वाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्. Sarvakarmani, all karmas, all actions, kurvan, performing, madvyapashraya, taking refuge in me, taking ashray in me, that means in God, mat prasadat. Prasad Bhagavan, prasad is his grace on us, isn't it? So by my grace, mat prasadat, shashvatam, eternal, padam, the state, the abode, avyayam, imperishable. Shri Bhagavan says, one who performs all actions while taking refuge in God attains the eternal, imperishable state by His grace, by God's grace. So this sloka highlights one of the most essential teachings of Bhagavad Gita, the harmony between karma and bhakti, action and devotion. It clarifies that moksha, liberation, does not require abandoning karma, but transforming the attitude behind karma. The phrase Sarva Karmanya Sada Kurvana emphasizes that person may continue to perform all duties, worldly duties, social duties, personal duties, without restriction. You can continue to. The Gita does not advocate escapism. Ye mat karo, wo mat karo. No, Gita doesn't say that. Instead, it encourages engagement with life while maintaining spiritual awareness. So the key idea here lies in Mad Vyapashraya, taking refuge in God. This means cultivating an inner dependence on divine rather than on ego. We depend on our ego, main, mera. God says, why don't you depend on the divine? You continue to do your karma, just depend on divine. Don't depend on your ego. Or the outcomes or the external validation, we depend on that. God says you better depend on the divine. Why do you depend on ego, result, or the external validation of your karma? Such a person, he acts not for personal gain, but as an instrument of the divine will. When actions are performed in this spirit, they no longer bind the individual. And why we come back to the cycle of birth and death? It is binding only. We want to get rid of this bondage. Normally, actions produce results, karma phala. Any karma produces karma phala, whether you want it or don't want it, which in turn bind the soul to the cycle of birth and death. But when actions are dedicated to God, that binding effect dissolves. No kartatva abhiman, no sense of doership, and no expectation of return and reward. So why will you get bonded then? The individual becomes free even while acting, while doing karma also. He becomes free because he has no sense of doership and he has no expectation of return and reward. So why will the karma bind him? And why will he return again to cycle of birth and death? He will lead to more moksha, liberation only, isn't it? Then the shloka further states that mat prasadat, this is important. By the grace of God, such a person attains shashvatam padamavayam, the eternal and imperishable state. This refers to moksha, liberation, where the soul realizes its true nature and becomes free from suffering and rebirth. An important point here is the role of grace, mat prasada. While effort is necessary, of course, yes, ultimate realization is not merely a product of personal striving. Divine grace plays a very, very crucial role. However, this grace is not arbitrary. God does not bestow His grace on anyone. It flows naturally when one aligns oneself with the divine through surrender and devotion. You have to qualify yourself. And what is the qualification technique that Paramatma has explained? Ahankaram balandarpam kama gurdam parigram vimuchyanmo shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate, and the earlier shloka also. So this is how we can, through surrender and devotion, attain Paramatma, attain liberation. In modern life, this teaching is very practical. A person can perform his job, care for family, fulfill his responsibilities while maintaining an inner attitude of surrender. For example, a teacher teaching his students, a doctor treating his patients, or a worker doing daily tasks can mentally dedicate their karma, their work to God. This transforms ordinary action into spiritual sadhana, spiritual practice. You can make a cup of tea and make it a spiritual sadhana. Gita shows you that technique. I am making tea for God. This itself becomes a spiritual sadhana. So the shloka teaches that liberation is not about renouncing the action, giving up the action karma, but renouncing the ego and attachment within action. By doing so, although one fully lives in the world, but he remains spiritually free, bondage free. And this is the way to get rid of cycle of birth and death. Next shloka. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparah buddhiyogopashritya machitta sadam bhavo. Chetasa, with the mind. Sanyasya, renouncing, offering. Matparaha, devoted to me. Matparaha. Buddhi yogam, yoga of intellect. Buddhi yoga, right understanding, that means upashritya, taking refuge in machitta, his mind fixed on me, satadam, always. So mentally renouncing all actions to God, chitasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha, being devoted to him and guided by wisdom, one should always keep the mind fixed on him. Buddhiyo upavashitya machitta satam bhava. So this shloka deepens the teaching of previous shloka by explaining how to practice inner surrender while living in the active life. The phrase Chetasa Sarva Karmani Mai Sanyasa is extremely important. It's a principle of living life. Chetasa Sarva Karmani Mai Sanyasa means that all actions should be mentally offered to God. I'm walking for God, I'm eating for God, I'm talking for God. Every karma I'm doing for God, offering it to God. This is not physical renunciation, but inner renunciation. You keep continuing doing the work, the karma, but with this feeling that everything I'm doing is for God. Outwardly, a person may continue to act the way he is doing now. But inwardly, he relinquishes the sense of doership, that I am the doer. This shift is subtle but very, very powerful. Normally, people identify strongly with their karma, their action. ये मैंने किया है, मेरा काम है, and ये मेरा फल है. I should get the return reward of my karma. Success inflates the ego, and failure, it causes distress. But when the actions are mentally surrendered to God, Mai Sanyasya Mat Paraha, Chitasa Sarva Karmani, all karmas are Sanyasya Mat Paraha, surrendered to God, then there is no question of getting bondage. So success, it may inflate ego, failure may cause stress, but when actions are mentally surrendered to God, the individual becomes free. God takes everything on his head. From his emotional turbulence, he becomes free. Once you offer it to God, Chitta Sarva Karmani myself Mat Paraha. So this shloka emphasizes Mat Paraha, being devoted to God as the highest goal of our life. This means that all actions, all karmas are aligned with a higher purpose, not for a very narrow purpose, not merely personal ambition, but it is a narrow purpose. The role of Buddhi Yoga is crucial here. Buddhi Yoga Upashitya. It refers to the disciplined use of intellect, Buddhi, to maintain right understanding. This Buddhi is Viveka Buddhi, discrimination, what is right, what is wrong. The intellect must constantly remind the individual that God is the ultimate reality which I have to realize. I am the instrument only. Actions belong to nature, not to the ego. Without this clarity, surrender can become superficial or inconsistent. So by merely saying Shri Krishna Arpanamastu, you don't really get rid of your sense of doership. It has to come from within. So the phrase Machitta Satatam Bhava is steps 1 to keep the mind constantly fixed on God. This does not mean withdrawing from daily life, but maintaining a background awareness of the divine presence. Just as a person may work while remembering a loved one can act while remembering God. Isn't it? A person may work, he is working, but he is remembering his loved one. Why can't we remember God? We remember a person whom we love most, even while doing any work. God says, why don't you remember me? This shloka teaches a practical method of meditation in action. Meditation means not always doing pranayam, sitting with closed eyes and in silence. Meditation can be done even while doing karma. This shloka teaches us that technique. Instead of limiting spirituality to isolated practices like sitting meditation, it extends meditation into every moment of life, every karma that we do. For example, while performing any task, one can inwardly think the action is offered to God. I am only an instrument. The result belongs to God. Over a period of time, this transforms the mind. Initially, it may sound to be a little dramatic to say this mentally also, that this action is offered to God, I am only the instrument, or the result belongs to God. Mechanical, it may sound mechanical, but it starts entering the mind. It transforms the mind. It becomes shanta, peaceful, steady, and free from anxiety. So this shloka shows that the true sannyas, true renunciation is mental, not physical. And it must be supported by devotion and buddhi, right understanding. Next shloka. Machitta sarva durgani mattu saddhattarishyasi अथ चेत्त्वम् अहङ्कारान् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्षसि. My chitta, mind fixed on me. Sarvadurvani, all difficulties. Tarishyasi, you will cross over. Ahankara, due to ego. Na shroshasi, if you will not listen. Vinamshasi, you will perish. Probably God is giving a direct threat now to Arjuna. If your mind is fixed on God, you will overcome all difficulties by His grace. Okay, very good. But if out of ego, ahankaran, you would not listen, then you will perish. If you bring your ahankara in between, ego in between, then you will perish. So this shloka presents a clear contrast between surrender and ego and their consequences. If you surrender, you attain God. If you go, then perish. Choice is yours. The first part, mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasadda tarishyasi, offers a powerful assurance to us. If the mind is fixed on God, one can overcome all obstacles. These obstacles may be external, say, problems, challenges, or internal, fear, doubt, attachment. If you fix up your mind on God, God takes care of all these internal and external problems. The key here is mat prasada, by God's grace. When the mind is aligned with the divine, the life difficulties no longer overwhelm the individual. Instead, they are faced with courage, clarity, and inner strength. This does not mean that challenges disappear and life becomes all cakewalk. Rather, the capacity to rise above them increases. Difficulties do come, but your capacity to rise above them definitely increases. A person anchored in devotion, he remains steady even in adversity. That is the game. The second part of shloka introduces the warning. Atachitmamema hankaram ashurasya vinangshasi. If due to ego one refuses to follow this teaching of Gita, it leads to downfall. Ego, ahankar, it creates a false sense of independence, that I know everything. This is ego. I don't need guidance. I know everything. The main people whom you meet and they say, Gita, हमको सब पता है गीता में क्या है. अरे किसको पता है? To make this kind of statement itself is foolish, no? कि हमको सब पता है गीता में क्या है. Saying that I am the doer, this attitude disconnects the individual from divine wisdom, and it will lead to a wrong decision and suffering. So in the context of Bhagavad Gita, this is directed to Arjuna, isn't it? This message. God has given 18 adhyayas of Gita, and at the end of 18th adhyaya, he is saying this. Arjuna initially wanted to avoid his duty out of confusion. Shri Krishna wants that ignoring divine guidance due to ego will lead to destruction. Not necessarily physical death, but spiritual downfall and continued sufferings. In modern times, this teaching is highly relevant. When people act purely out of ego, ignoring ethics, wisdom, and higher purpose, they often face stress, conflict, and dissatisfaction. That is Vinamshasi. On the other hand, humility and surrender open the door to guidance, peace, and resilience. So this shloka teaches us that devotion, bhakti, leads to strength and victory over difficulties. Ego leads to confusion and downfall. First line of the shloka, it says devotion leads to strength and victory over difficulties. And second line says, if you bring ego in between, then you lead to confusion and downfall. So these three shlokas what we have studied, these shlokas they say perform all actions. Shloka number 56 says, keep performing all actions. 57 shloka says, mentally surrender all your actions with devotion and wisdom. And now God says, overcome all challenges through divine grace, avoiding ego. They offer a complete path of karma yoga combined with bhakti and jnana, showing how to live spiritually while fully engaged in life. Every new day for us brings a new opportunity in our life. Do we have the ability to recognize that opportunity? God gives us opportunity in abundance. Our ahankar comes into picture and we miss that opportunity. Our misunderstanding comes into picture and we miss that opportunity. Atachetma ahankara no shasya vinamshasi. We experience this. A small village was situated on the banks of a river in a hilly area. The people of that village were very religious in nature. All the villagers used to offer daily worship in a temple situated in the middle of the village. The responsibility of taking care of that temple was with the priest. Pujari was staying in that temple. Who used to reside in the temple premise itself. He used to be absorbed in worship of God from morning till late night. His job was that only. One day, the nature wreaked havoc on the village in the form of torrential rain, which flooded the river. When the flood water entered the village, the people of the village started preparing to leave their homes and move to a safer place. Before leaving the village, one person thought of the temple priest. Arey pujari kahan gaya wo? And he ran to the temple. After reaching there, he said to priest, "Oh, dear priest, the flood water has started entering our homes. It will be slowly reaching the temple as well. If we do not leave the village immediately, we'll be washed away in the flood. And so we are all going to a safe place. You also come with us, please." But the priest did not agree to go with that person. He said, "I am not an atheist like you. I have full faith in God. I have worshipped Him all my life. He won't let anything happen to me. If you guys want to go, then go. I will stay here only." Hearing all this from priest, the person went back. The priest got absorbed in the Lord's Prayer. Within no time, the flood water reached the temple. Gradually, it progressed. It reached the priest's waist. Just then, a man came there with a boat and said to priest, "Oh priest, a man from the village told me that you are still here stuck in the temple. I have come to pick you up. I have brought this boat. Come on and get onto this boat." The priest said the same thing. Due to his ego and misunderstanding, Ajnan. He said what he had said to earlier person, same thing he said, that you go. He refused to leave with him. The person who had brought a boat also left. Soon the water reached the roof of the temple. Remembering God for help, the priest climbed and stood on the highest peak of the temple. Just then, a security team came there by a helicopter and they threw a rope to save the priest. But the priest, repeating the same thing, refused to hold on to the rope. The helicopter of security team went ahead to rescue other people of the village. Now the flood water had come up to the top of the temple. The priest standing there started drowning. Before drowning, he complained to God and said, "Lord, I have dedicated my whole life to you. I put so much faith in you. Still, you did not come to save me." Hearing the complaint of the priest, the God appeared and said, "Oh, you fool, I came to save you thrice. The first time I came running to you, kept asking you to leave the village with the villagers. You declined. Then I brought the boat. You declined. And then I finally brought helicopter for you. You declined again. Now, is it my fault that you did not recognize me due to your ego?" The priest realized his mistake, but then it was already too late. So opportunities in life, they knock without informing us. We have to recognize that this is God's grace on us. We are unable to recognize them and then keep complaining throughout the life that we did not get the opportunity to lead a good and successful life. Every day is an opportunity to live life in a new way. Every morning, meditation that we do on the heart gives us an opportunity to bring that new life into this life itself. So when inspiration comes, don't doubt it. When inspiration comes in your mind, don't doubt it. Just follow it. Meditation helps us to test whether our thinking is right or wrong, beneficial or not. Okay, continuing next story, next shloka, sorry. यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्यति मन्यसे मिथ्येष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वान्नियोक्ष्यति. Ahangaram, again, ego, false sense of I. Ashritya, taking refuge in, depending upon. Yotsa, I will not fight. Nayotse. Manyase, if you think mithya, false, in vain. We have saw your determination, your decision, prakriti, future. One's inherent tendency is prakriti, is swabhav. Niyokshati will compel, will force you. God says, if out of ego you think I will not fight, yad ahankaram ashritya nayotsiti manyase. If out of ego, if you still think that I will not fight, your decision is in vain. Your own nature, prakriti, will compel you to act. We can't go against our swabhav. So in this shloka, Śrīmad Bhagavan directly addresses the illusion of the personal control created by our ego. Arjuna was overwhelmed by emotion, had earlier decided not to fight in the war. Here Krishna challenges the decision. Just one second, I'll open the window. So the key idea here is ahankaram ashritya, taking refuge in the ego. Ego gives the illusion that I am independent. I can decide everything on my own. But Sri Krishna points out that such thinking is limited and often disconnected from reality. When Arjuna says that I will not fight, Nayotsa, Krishna calls this decision mithya, false or illusory. Why? Because it ignores the deeper force within one's own nature. If four people are walking on the street, somebody comes with a knife in his hand. If he attacks a Brahmin what will do? He will hold his hands. Kyun maro bhai? Don't go, I'm poor man. What you will get by killing me? Leave me. Kshatriya, will you do that way? Will retaliate instantly. That is wow. A Vaishya may do some give and take. थोड़ा बात करके बैठते हैं. Let us discuss what you want, what all that. So everybody's nature is inherent nature that he cannot change. He cannot go against his swabhav. Every individual is born with certain tendencies, qualities, and inclinations shaped by past actions, samskars, and inherent dispositions, which he is doing in this life. Arjuna is a warrior, Kshatriya. He is trained as a Kshatriya and naturally inclined towards courage, towards duty, and protection of righteousness. That is the Swabhava Dharma of Kshatriya. We have studied this in this Adhyaya only. From Kshatriya Visham Shudrana Japarantava, Karmani Prabhaktani Swabhava Pravargunai, Teja Kshama Dhati Shvaja Madhro Nadivanadavang. All that we have studied this Adhyaya. So to deny this nature is to go against one's own inner design, which always fails. Shri Krishna explains that Prakritim Tvam Niyokshati. Your own nature will eventually compel you to act. Even if Arjuna temporarily withdraws, circumstances and his inner nature, which is of Kshatriya only, will push him back into action of war. This teaching has a universal application for all of us. Many times, people try to avoid responsibilities due to fear, due to confusion, or emotional overwhelm. They say, I will not do this. But if the action aligns with their true nature and duty, they cannot escape for long. Sooner or later, they have to do it. And they do it. For example, a person with a strong sense of justice cannot remain silent in the face of wrongdoing. He will raise his voice. A compassionate person cannot ignore suffering. Similarly, Arjuna cannot truly abandon his duty as a warrior, as a Kshatriya. Shri Krishna is not forcing action. But he is revealing the truth. Your nature is Kshatriya, you cannot remain without fighting war for too long. Sooner or later, you will take this Gandhya Samsade Hastat, you will take it in your hand and you start fighting. Freedom does not lie in denying one's nature, but in understanding and aligning with the Swabhav, Prakriti. At a deeper level, this shloka also questions the idea of absolute free will. You don't have free will, absolute free will. It suggests that human actions are influenced by deeper forces, nature and tendencies, and the divine order. Ego falsely claims independence, but wisdom recognizes the interconnectedness between nature, tendency, and the divine order. So this shloka teaches us that decisions based on ego and avoidance are ultimately unsustainable, and one must act according to one's own nature, true nature, and his duty. Now the question may come, if Arjuna was to in any case fight the war, why did Krishna spend time in telling him Gita? Isn't it? God says the nature would have compelled you to fight. Then why did you spend so much time? Because it was not guaranteed when Arjuna's discrimination will arise and he will take the Gandiva in his hand. The time is crucial. If he runs away from the war and decides to come back after 15 days, the damage is already done. War is finished. Without Arjuna, Pandava would have lost the war within 2 days probably. Shri Krishna didn't want to take that risk. He wanted Arjuna to start retaliating right now. No delay. Time is the essence. That is why Gita is important to remember that time is the essence. We have to take proper action at proper time. Like Arjuna was forced to take proper action at proper time. Even if nature would have compelled him to do this war fighting at a later date, Shri Krishna did not waste time. He said, no, now. Now this shloka is definitely Yadhankar Mashyatya. Now if you say, Mitreshe Vasaiste Prakriti Swan Yoshati, we also face these situations in life. We don't fight war, but because of Ahankar, we sometimes ignore our Kartavya Karma. We need to meditate on this shloka. If taking refuge in ego, you think I will not fight, this decision of yours is in vain. Your own nature will compel you to act. So let us meditate on this wonderful shloka. Sit quietly, say for 1.5 minutes. Sit comfortably with your back straight. Close your eyes slowly. Take a deep, slow, deep breaths. Allow the body to relax. Second step, observe the mind. Notice the thoughts arising in your mind without judging them. Don't question any thought coming to your mind. Just judge them as a witness, Sakshi. Ask yourself, what am I resisting in my life? What am I resisting in my life? Do not immediately look for an answer. Just observe what thoughts are coming into your mind. Then contemplate on the word ahankar. You need to do meditation on this ahankar for a couple of minutes or 3 minutes. Bring to mind the ahankar mashritya, taking refuge in the ego. Ask yourself, am I saying I will do this or I will not do this merely because of my ego? I have taken the ashritya of my ego. Am I allowing pride, fear, attachment, and stubbornness to influence my decisions? Simply observe. Then contemplate on, I will not act. Niyotse. Repeatedly, repeat mentally, Niyotseti manyase. I think I will not act. Reflecting on situations where you avoid something because it is difficult or uncomfortable or against your preference. Remember that situation in your life and ask, am I genuinely choosing wisely or am I escaping my responsibility? Then discover your Swabhav. Now contemplate. Prakriti Swan Niyokshati. Your own nature will compel you to act. Ask, what responsibilities naturally belong to me? What is my Swadharma? We discussed in last session Swadharma. Thinking of your roles as a family member, as a professional, as a citizen, as a devotee or as a teacher, and then identify where sincere action is required. In the next stage, surrender the ego, like Arjuna had done. Take a slow breath and mentally say, I will not be driven by my ego. I will understand my duty. I'll perform it sincerely. I surrender the results to Bhagavan. This shifts the mind from what do I want to what is the right thing to do. Then, under silent conclusion, remain silent and express the thought. I am not here merely to avoid karma action. I am here to perform a right action with the right attitude. Then slowly open your eyes. So this sloka teaches us that running away from responsibilities is not true freedom. The ego may say, I will not do this. But one's nature, his duties, his circumstances eventually bring one back to that action. Therefore, Bhagavad-Gītā asks us not to suppress action, but to purify the intention behind action. Remove your ego, recognize your swadharma, what is your prescribed responsibility, act with discrimination, and surrender the efforts to God. So meditation mantra for this shloka is understand my duty, remove the ego, perform my swadharma, and surrender the result. So meditation helps us in bringing Gita in our day-to-day life. As Pujya Swami says, Gita padhe padhaya aur जीवन में लाए. Meditation is the best way to bring Gita in our life. Meditate on the sloka of your choice. Bring that sloka in your day-to-day life. Next sloka. स्वजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धस्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुन्यच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यस्य वशोऽपि तत्. स्वभावजेन, born out of one's own nature. Nibaddha, bound, tied down. Karmana, by karma, by action, by duty. Mohat, due to illusion. Nechasi, you do not wish. Avashaha, helpless, compelled. Karishyasi, you will do. God says, Arjuna, bound by your own nature born actions. Bhava jena kante. Bound by your own nature born actions, you will be forced to do what you do not wish to do due to delusion. अभी मोह में है आप, इसलिए you are not doing it. But once this moh is gone, you will do definitely as per your स्वभाव jena kante. So this shloka continues and strengthens the idea that we discussed in the earlier shloka, 59 shloka. Here Shri Krishna Bhagavan explains more clearly that one is bound by one's own nature and karma. The term svabhavajena, it refers to qualities arising from one's inherent nature. These are not random, but are shaped by past experiences, upbringing, and deeper impressions, that means samskars, of this life as well as past life. These tendencies strongly influence our behavior. Shri Krishna says that Arjuna is nibaddha svena karmana, bound by his own duty. This does not mean forced in a negative sense, but rather that is his life. That is his role in life. And the abilities naturally directed him towards certain actions. The phrase yat mohat na ichhasi indicates that Arjun's reluctance comes from moha, delusion, confusion. He is temporarily clouded by emotional attachment and grief, which distort his judgment. However, Shri Krishna assures that despite this confusion, despite this moha, Arjuna will eventually act according to his true nature. Karishyasya vashopi tat. You will do it even against your present will. If not now, after a few days. This reveals an important psychological truth. Temporary emotions cannot permanently override deep-rooted nature. You can control for a while, but not for long. While fear or confusion may cause hesitation, they cannot erase one's core tendencies. In everyday life, We see this very clearly happening around us. A person may try to suppress his talents, avoid responsibilities, or ignore their calling. But over time, his inner nature reasserts itself, often leading him back to the true path. Sri Krishna's teaching here is not fatalistic or it is realistic. It encourages self-awareness. Instead of resisting one's own nature, one should understand and channel it wisely. For Arjuna, this means recognizing that his role as a warrior, as a kshatriya, is not merely a profession, but a dharma, a duty. Avoiding it would bring peace but inner conflict. It will not bring peace of mind. It will bring only inner conflict. Because your nature is asking you to do something and you're not doing as per that. So definitely mental conflict is going to result. So this shloka teaches us that delusion may cause temporary resistance. Moha may cause temporary resistance. But one's true nature ultimately prevails. Next shloka. ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां हृद्देशे अर्जुन तिष्ठति ब्राह्मयन् सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया. Ishwar, the Supreme God, Sarvabhutanam, of all beings, Hriddeshe, in the heart, in the Hridaya, Tishtati, resides. Brahmayan, causing to move, directing. Yantra Rudani, mounted on the machine. See, Yantra Shabda has come in Gita 5,500 years back. So Yantra was known to people that time also. Mounted on a machine. Maya, by divine power, by illusion. God says, God resides in the hearts of all beings. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe, and directs their movements as if they are mounted on a machine. Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudani, by his divine power, Maya. As we say, those who have seen that movie Anand, they know that famous dialogue. हम सब रंगमंच की कठपुतलियां हैं, सबकी दो भगवान के हाथ में है. You remember that dialogue from the famous movie Anand. So this shloka is giving that message. This shloka presents a profound vision of the relationship between individual and the divine. Shri Krishna declares that God resides in the heart of every being. The phrase Hrideshte Tishtati indicates that God is not distant or external, but intimately present within us. This inner presence is the source of our consciousness, our guidance, and the life itself. Shri Krishna further says that God, Brahmanya Sarva Karabhutani, Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani, causes all beings to move, Brahmayan, to move. The analogy Yantra Rudani, mounted on the machine, suggests that the body and mind functions like a mechanism. Our body and a machine, our body and mind are the machine. They act as a mechanism for us to act, while the divine is the ultimate controller and the guiding force. This does not mean that humans are merely robots without awareness. Rather, it emphasizes that behind all actions lies a deeper divine order. Individual will operate. Yes, individual will operates within a larger framework of divine. The term Maya, it refers to the divine power, Maya, that governs the universe. It creates the illusion of separateness and individuality, making beings feel independent even though they are a part of a greater whole. So it is a Maya, the magic of Maya, that we think I am independent. Once you penetrate that Maya, then only you can reach the God. This shloka integrates the teaching of earlier shlokas. Slok 15 and 60 taught us, they spoke about the nature compelling the action. So, and all. This shloka reveals the deeper source behind the nature, the divine presence itself. Ishwara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. It suggests that both nature, Prakriti, and the inner guidance, Ishwar, are expressions of the divine will. For spiritual devotees, seekers, this teaching has two major implications. Number one, humility, namrata. Realizing that we are not ultimate controller, it should reduce our ego. and trust, Shraddha. Knowing that God resides within us gives confidence and inner stability. So in practical life, this can be experienced as an inner voice. अंदर की आवाज, आत्मा की आवाज, intuition, what you call it. You call it anything, inner voice, intuition, or conscious. When one becomes shanta, calm, and introspective, this inner guidance becomes clearer. That's why meditation, during meditation, when you are shanta, calm, this inner voice you start listening, hearing very well. You know what is right. Your inner consciousness advises you, it guides you. That is the Ishvara Sarvabhutana Pradesha Janashtati. The Ishvara which is there in your Hridaya, it becomes your guiding force during meditation. This guidance becomes clearer and clearer when your mind is shanta, calm. So this shloka teaches us that God is the inner controller of all beings, guiding them through their life's journey, and recognizing this leads to surrender, samarpan, wisdom, jnana, and peace, shanti. So these shlokas put together, they reveal a very deep truth for us. 59 to 61, these three shlokas. Ego-based decisions are limited and often false. That is what we learned in 59. One's nature inevitably guides the action. Swahajana Kvanteya, 60. And now this. Behind both lies the divine presence controlling all. Ishvara Sarvabhutana. So they guide us towards self-understanding, surrender, and alignment with the divine will, which is the essence of spiritual realization. Now, when we come to think of Gita's teachings to us, a question may come to our mind. Okay, I have understood all these principles of Gita. I want to know who will be with us at the time of our death. This is a small story of a king and four queens. Who will be who will be there with us at the time of our death? Well, there was a king who had four queens. The king loved the fourth one the most and gifted her beautiful clothes and ornaments. The king also used to order excellent dishes to be made for that fourth queen. He used to make best arrangements for that queen, whom he loved most. The king also loved the third queen very much and always spoke highly about her to the neighboring kingdoms, although he was afraid that one day she will leave him for another. He was in love with the second queen as well. She was his confidant and was always loving, considerate, and patient with him. Whenever king faced any problem, he would rely on her, and that queen used to help the king to overcome the tough times. The first queen of the king was very loyal and had contributed a lot in maintaining the wealth and splendor of the kingdom. Although the king did not love the first wife, she loved him very much, but the king hardly paid any attention to first wife. One day, the king fell ill and realized that he was short of time. He thought of the future of his luxurious life. क्या होगा अभी? I have four queens with me right now, but when I die, I will be left alone. He asked the fourth queen, I have loved you the most, give you the best clothes and taken great care for you. Now that I am dying, will you please come with me? Not at all, the queen replied, and she left without saying any more words. Her reply pierced the king's heart like a dagger. इससे इतना प्यार किया and she is rejecting my request. The sad king then asked the third queen, I have loved you all my life. Now that I am dying, will you go with me? No. The third wife replied the same way. My life is going great. When you are no more, I will marry again somebody else. The king's heart sank and he became very, very sad. Then he asked the second queen, I have always helped you and you too have always supported me. When I die, will you go with me? I am sorry. I cannot help you this time. The second wife also replied like this. I can support you only till the crematorium. Her reply came like a gust of wind, and the king was dismayed. Then suddenly a voice came, I will walk with you and be with you forever, wherever you go. The king looked up, and it was his first queen, whom he never loved. She suffered from chronic malnutrition and neglect. She was so weak. Feeling gravely sad, the king said regretfully, I should have respected you at every opportunity, but I always neglected you. I wish I could have known you for, and then I could have loved you more. In fact, we all have these four queens in our life. The fourth queen is our body. No matter how much time and effort we put into making it look good, it will leave us when we die. The body will not come with us. The third queen is our wealth, our status, our money. When we die, it will go to others. It will not come with us. The second queen is our family and our friends. No matter how close they are to us, they will only support us till the funeral pyre. They will not come with us. And our first queen is our soul, our Atma, which is often neglected in the pursuit of worldly wealth, power, and happiness. So learn to identify the soul that is within us. Hridesha Janadishtati. It is our heart through which we can connect with our soul. Therefore, there is a greater philosophy behind the meditation on our heart, because in heart is situated the God. Gita, so many shlokas Gita says, I am in your heart. How many times God has to tell you this? Next shloka. Tamev sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharato tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. What is that? Okay. We will go to the meaning directly. God says, take complete refuge in the God. Tamev sharanam gaccha. Sarvabhavena bharata, with all your being. Tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. By His grace, you will attain supreme peace and eternal abode. So in this shloka, Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā gives one of the most direct and powerful instructions of Gita. Complete surrender to divine. The phrase Pam Iva Sharanam Gaccha means take refuge in Him alone. This indicates exclusivity. True surrender is not divided, half mind here and half mind to samsara. Total surrender. Total surrender. It is not partial or conditional. One must turn entirely towards the divine, not relying on ego, on material support, or external identities for ultimate security. The word Sarva Bhavena, it depends this idea. Sarva Bhavena. Surrender should be with one's whole being, his mind, his intellect, his emotions, his actions, Sarva Bhavena. It is not merely a verbal declaration that I surrender to you, but a total inner alignment. Shri Krishna assures that through such surrender, Tat Prasadat, by His grace, one attains Param Shantim, supreme peace. This peace is not temporary, relief from problems, but a deep, unshakable inner calm that remains unaffected by external circumstances. The book also maintains Shashvatam Sthan, the eternal state or the abode. This refers to liberation, moksha, where the soul transcends the cycle of birth and death and realizes its true nature is that moksha. So a key insight here is that peace and liberation are not achieved merely by effort, but by grace, mat prasada. However, grace is not random. It flows naturally when one surrenders sincerely. In practical life, surrender does not mean passivity or inaction. It means accepting situations without inner resistance. It means trusting a higher wisdom beyond personal understanding. It means acting without anxiety about the results. For example, a person may face challenges in career or relationships. Instead of being consumed by worry or ego-driven control, he can perform his duties sincerely and leave the outcome to divine. This brings manasik shanti, mental peace, and clarity. So this sloka teaches us that complete surrender is the gateway to lasting peace and liberation. Choice is yours. Do we know who am I? Have you ever searched to find an answer to this who am I? A sage of high order was returning back to India after traveling all over the world. On his way, he stopped over in a small priestly state. When the king of that princely state got the news, he immediately went out to meet that sage. He bowed down at the feet of sage and said, Master, Maharaj, I have had a persistent question for last 20 years, but have never found an answer to it. Will you give me an answer to my question? The sage said, I will, sure, for sure. Today you will not return empty handed. Ask what is your question. The king said, I want to meet God. I don't want to hear or understanding about him. I want to meet him directly. The sage said, do you want to meet him now or after a while? The king said, excuse me, but I think you did not understand me correctly. I am talking about the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, Paramatma. I hope you did not think I was talking about a man named God. That you asked me whether to meet him now or later. The sage said with a smile, there is no room for mistaking, gentlemen. I do the work of connecting people with the God. I do the work of connecting people with the God. 24 hours a day, this is my job. Do you want to meet him now or can you wait for a while? Give me a direct answer. You have been eager to meet him for last 20 years. Now the time has come, so meet him. The king mustered courage and said, okay, I want to meet him now. Please connect me with him. The sage said, please write your name and address on a small piece of paper so that I can convey this to God who you are. The king wrote down his name and his palace address, his introduction and his titles, and gave everything to sage. The sage said, sir, all this that you have written on this piece of paper seems to me to be false and untrue. Friend, if your name is changed, will you change? Your consciousness, your truth, your personality, will that all change? The king said, no. Why would I change if the name is changed? The name is the name, and I myself. So the sage said, one thing is certain, that the name is not your introduction, because you do not change by changing the name. So who are you then? That you are not helping here. Now tell me, today you are the king. Tomorrow if you become a beggar of the village, will that change you? Will that change who you are? So the king said, no, I may become a beggar if I lose the kingdom, but why would I change? That will not change me. You know what, I am a king, I will remain the same as beggar. That me will remain same, no? There will be no house, no state, no wealth, but me, I will always remain that only, that what I am today. Then the sage said, it is settled that the state is not your introduction. Because if the state is taken away, you do not change, you remain you only. You are telling me that. Then the sage asked, how old are you? The king said, 40 years. The sage said, then would you change when you are 50? Were you different when you were 20 years? Or a child of 10 years? The king said, no, no, no. The age changes, the body changes, but what I was in my childhood, in my youth, what was within me is the same what I am today. Why are you asking these questions? The sage said, so even age is not your introduction. You say age has not changed you. The body is not your introduction either. So then write down who you are. and then I will send it across to God. You are not writing who you are. You are writing all that who you are not. Otherwise, I too will become a liar along with you, that I am giving a wrong introduction of yours. Since any of this does not introduce you or your identity, I want to know your true identity so that I can inform God that this man has come to meet you. Who are you? The king said, then we have a great difficulty. Then even I don't know who am I. Because every time I say I am this, you are disposing it off, saying that no. And I am getting convinced about every answer that you are giving me. These are the only things I know as my being. The sage said, then there is a great difficulty. Because if I cannot even introduce, if I cannot even tell him, that means God, who wants to meet him, then what would even God say, whom he will meet? So go for search yourself and find out who you are, and then tell me. And then I will tell you, the day you know who you are, that day you will not come to seek God. Because in knowing yourself, that which is God is also known. When you know who you are, you will know the God also. So first, find out yourself, and you will find the God. Next loka. Itite jnanamakhyatam guhya guhyataram maya vimrshayitadasheshena githeccha siddha kuru. Thus, the most secret knowledge that has been explained to you, Arjuna, reflect fully on it and then act as you choose. यथेच्छ सिद्धता करो. मैंने बताने का काम किया है, काम करने का काम तुमको करना है. जो करना है वो करो. यथेच्छ सिद्धता करो. Freedom is yours. After delivering the entire teaching of Gita, Shri Krishna now gives Arjuna the freedom to choose. यथेच्छ सिद्धता करो. This shloka is remarkable because it emphasizes free will and personal responsibility. Your guru can give you gyan, but ultimately you have to act. Shri Krishna says that he has revealed Guhya Guhyataram Jnanam, the most profound and secret knowledge through Bhagavad Gita. This includes teaching on karma, bhakti, jnana, samarpan, everything. However, instead of commanding Arjuna, Krishna says, Vimrushedashena Yetya Guru. Reflect on it fully. Vimrushete. And Yetya Guru, then act as you wish. This highlights an important principle. Spiritual wisdom is not meant to be imposed, but understood and internalized. Blind obedience is not encouraged in Gita. Thoughtful reflection is essential. The word vimrushai is crucial. It means deep contemplation. Krishna expects Arjuna to analyze the teachings of Gita that he has given so far, understand their implications, and align with them in his own situation. Then only he should act what he thinks is right. So this shloka balances the idea of divine guidance with the human freedom. There is a balance between both these two. While earlier shlokas emphasized surrender and divine control, here Shri Krishna affirms that the individual still has the power to choose. Yate Guru. This is a great relevance in today's life. Often people seek advice or guidance, but must ultimately make their own decisions. True wisdom lies not in dependence, but in informed and conscious choice. Shri Krishna's approach also shows respect for Arjuna's individuality. He does not force a decision, but empowers Arjuna to take responsibility. So this shloka teaches that true understanding leads to freedom, and one must act with awareness and responsibility. Next shloka. Sarvaguyatvam bhuyash shrunme param vachaha ishtosi me dridamiti tato vakshyami te hitam. Listen again. Shrunme param vacha bhuya. Bhuya means again. Listen again to my supreme and most secret teaching. God says, you are very dear to me. Ishtosi me. So I will speak what is for your highest good. Tato vakshyami te hitam. So in this shloka, Shri Krishna prepares to give the highest and most intimate teaching of Gita. That message is yet to come. Next shloka it will come, or next to next shloka maybe. Before doing so, he expresses his deep affection for Arjuna. The phrase "Ishtosime Dridamiti" means you are truly dear to me. It reveals a personal, emotional dimension in the dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna. The relationship between Shri Krishna and Arjuna is not just that of teacher and student, but also one of love, trust, and compassion. Because of this closeness, Shri Krishna says he will speak what is te hitam, for your ultimate welfare. This indicates that forthcoming teaching is not just intellectually profound, but also deeply beneficial. Now, what is that teaching? For that, we'll have wait for next session. So, the term Sarva Bhavidamam suggests that even among many profound teachings already given in Gita, what follows is the essence of all wisdom that is to come. It prepares the listener for the famous teaching of complete surrender. That shlokas will come in the next. So, this shloka highlights an important aspect of spiritual knowledge. It is not merely abstract philosophy, but a living transmission from a compassionate guide like Sri Krishna Bhagavan. In practical terms, it reminds us that true guidance comes from those who genuinely care for our well-being. Your guru is your well-wisher. Spiritual teachings are most effective when received with trust and openness. Sri Krishna's tone here is gentle and reassuring. After presenting complex philosophical ideas throughout Bhagavad Gita, he now brings the focus back to a simple and heartfelt connection. So this shloka teaches us that the highest wisdom is given with love and for the ultimate good of the seeker. It must be received with attention and openness. So what we have learned from these three shlokas, 62nd shloka, it calls for complete surrender to God. 63rd shloka grants freedom to reflect and choose. And 64 prepares for the highest teaching with love and compassion. Now, what is that highest teaching? That we'll discuss in the next. But in the meantime, let us try to find the answer to an important question as to what Kishorji said in the beginning of this session as to how what is the supreme secret of Gita that removes all worries of life. Now, in the context of this adhyaya, what we have discussed for last 5 sessions, the supreme secret of Bhagavad Gita is that our worries arise largely because we think I am the doer, I must control the result, and everything must happen according to my expectations. Gita gradually frees us from this burden by teaching us to perform Swadharma sincerely, surrender the fruits of action, karma phala, to God, and finally surrender our ego itself to Him. In this adhyaya, Shri Krishna brings together the wisdom of entire Gita. He first explains Tyag. Giving up attachment to the fruits of action is Tyag. We should not abandon our responsibilities. Rather, we should perform them without selfish attachment. He then explains karma, jnana, buddhi, dhriti, sukha, and shows how our actions are influenced by the 3 gunas. Sattva, rajatama. So karma 3 types, jnana 3 types, buddhi 3 types, dhriti 3 types, and sukha 3 types. All that he explains. This understanding itself reduces worry. We begin to realize that many disturbances arise from the nature of mind and circumstances. We do swadhyaya, introspection, whether my tendencies are sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. And these are the main reasons of our worry. Therefore, we need not take every difficulty personally. Krishna then gives the important teaching of Swadharma. Shriyan Swadharma Vigna Pradharma Sanishtitat. One's own duty, even if performed imperfectly, is better than another duty performed perfectly. Thus, instead of constantly comparing ourselves with others, we should concentrate on our own duty and responsibility. But the teaching reaches its highest point in 61st slok that we read today. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridaya shri. The Lord dwells in the heart of every being and guides the course of existence. Therefore, we are not carrying the entire universe on our shoulders. Then comes slok 62nd. Tamev sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prasya shashvatam. Take refuge in Him alone with your whole being, and by His grace, you will attain supreme peace. The shloka that we have not taken today is Manmana Bhadbhakto Madhyajiman Namaskuru Mamish Zatinte Pradijane Priyosimi. Fix your mind on me, become my devotee, worship me, and bow down to me. You shall certainly come to me. This is my promise to you. Pradijane Priyosimi. For you, or because you are very dear to me. So the supreme secret is therefore not nothing bad will happen in life. This is not a secret. The secret is do your duty sincerely. Do not cling to the results. Do let success or failure define you. Rather, do not let success or failure define you. Offer your actions to God. Accept what comes with faith and surrender your worries also to Him. When we truly understand this, responsibility remains, but anxiety disappears. Effort remains, but fear disappears. Life continues, but the burden of I alone must control everything, that disappears. Ishvara Bhutanam Pradyashari Nirashtati and Manvavadakto. So this is the supreme secret of life, of Gita says. The transformation of worry into surrender is the secret of life. And surrender into peace, Shanti. I think we should stop here. If you have any questions, you are most welcome to ask. If you want to reserve your questions for the next session, choice is yours. You can decide. Jai Shri Krishna. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you very much, Vaidya. Thank you very much. Words seem inadequate to express our gratitude for such a profound, enlightening, inspiring, and thought-provoking exposition on Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. On behalf of all Gita Sadhaks, we offer our heartfelt gratitude to you, Bhaiya, for sharing your precious time, wisdom, and spiritual insights with all of us. There's some announcements for the sadhaks. We have various level 1 grammar sessions scheduled for tomorrow, which is Sunday, 23rd August 2026. I request all sadhaks to join those sessions as per their convenient language and also the time slots. Then we are starting with the 50th batch of level 1, which will be golden batch. We request all sadhaks to please tell your friends and relatives to register on learngeeta.com or joingeeta.com, and as many as most welcome, because this will be a golden session, 50th batch of level 1. Please encourage them. Now, any questions? I request all of you, if anybody wants, please raise your hand. I think so. Malathi Devi.
Jai Sri Krishna Bhaiya. First, I
Jai
want
Shri
to
Krishna.
apologize for wearing goggles. I had cataract surgery, so I'm unable to follow.
Okay.
Don't mean to be rude or disrespectful.
Yeah. We have to protect our body. That is most important.
My question is,
Yeah.
yes, my question is, I've realized through your teachings that all of us have all 3 gunas and all of us have all 4 varnas in us. And I'm
Yes.
starting to see that a little more clearly. My question is, with the 3 gunas, are we striving to balance them or become sattvic in actions, thoughts, deeds, intentions, everything?
See, the Gita
Because
advice
there
says
is
that.
a difference between balancing.
Yeah. No, Gita says not balancing. Gita says you have to translate. You have to cross over all 3 gunas. Our journey starts with Rajas. Most of the people like us, they are Rajas. God says from Rajas, you should extract energy, because Rajas gives you the strength to do some karma, to do some work, because you have something to attain.
Yes.
God says utilize that energy and shift your karma to sattvic. But in 14th Adhyay, we understand that Urdhvam Gachanti Sattvastha, Madhye Tishtanti Rajasa, Jaganirguna Vrittistha, Adho Gachanti Tamasa. All the 3 are bounded. They get bondage. the ultimate result of your sattvic swabha will be attainment of heaven. But even that is temporary. Because after you spend certain number of years, your punya karma you have utilized very well, you have to again come back, take new birth, do new karma, and then again, if you are doing as good, again go back to heaven, and again come down, and again go back, and again come down. So even Sattva puts you under bondage. Gita teaches this Gunya Bhava Arjuna. You become Gunarhit. Gunatit. Arjuna, you become Gunatit. So the final teaching of Gita is to become Gunatit, not even Sattvic. And how to become Gunatit? In Sattvic, we have the sense of I have done this, I have done good work, I have done Gita Parayan, I am teaching Gita. So this Sattvic, okay, you have done good work, but you are having sense of worship. That puts you under bondage. Then you have an expectation that people will say good words about me. Ah, sab acha bola aapne. You have spoken very well today. So that expectation is there that people will talk in appreciation. That also puts me under bondage. If you give away these two things, sense of doership and expectation of result and reward, your sattvic karma will transcend and you will become gunatit. So this quality is above sattvic to become gunatit. Gita's teaching to us is to become gunatit. And to become gunatit, the route goes via rajas to sattvic, sattvic to gunatit. Sattvic minus sense of doership minus expectation of return and reward is gunatit. Is that okay?
Okay, Bhaiya. Thank you, Bhaiya. Jai Shri Krishna. Yes, perfect.
Any other questions,
think so.
please?
I think so. Thank you very much, Bhaiya. Thank you very much. As we come towards the conclusion of today's divine gathering, our heartfelt and with profound gratitude, once again we humbly at the lotus feet of Yogeshwar Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Param Pujya Swami Shri Govindev Giriji Maharaj, whose boundless grace continues to guide us on this beautiful journey of Gita Sadhana. Our heartfelt gratitude once again to respected Vikasji Vaidya Bhaiya for blessing us with such profound spiritual wisdom and for helping us explore the deeper essence of Moksha Sannyasi. Our sincere gratitude to all our revered Gita sadhaks for their enthusiastic participation and continued dedication to this sacred journey of self-transformation. A special word of appreciation and heartfelt gratitude to Surekha Mittal Didi and Sandeep Joshi Bhaiya and their technical team for the dedicated seva for ensuring smooth and seamless management of today's Zoom and YouTube broadcast. To conclude today's divine gathering,
I have to make an appeal to all of the participants today.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
whether
ma'am,
they are on
please.
YouTube or on Zoom, that as you rightly said, we are going to celebrate our 50th golden batch starting from 16th of October. So I request all of you who are present on Zoom or on YouTube or elsewhere online on Learngeeta site to have as many sadhaks as possible joining the 16th of October batch. Each one of you should bring at least 5 people to learn Gita.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you very much, Bhaiya. Thank you very much.
Yeah, having learned Gita, we should offer this much seva to Gita. Gita is our mother. She is asking for this. So we should provide this seva to Gita. So each one of you, please circulate this news, this message to all your dear ones and dear ones, your friend circle, society, everywhere, that each one should get at least 5 sadhak to join 16th October batch. We'll become dearer to God. In the next session, we'll learn this sloka also. And I will again re-emphasize the importance of spreading the message of Gita. In this adhyaya, only in the last session, there is 2 important slokas which will teach us as to how important it is for us also to spread this message of Gita, to become a dear Bhakta of Lord Krishna. Okay, continue, Kishore, sorry.
Thank you, Bhaiya. I know this appeal will get good response. All sadhaks will for sure respond to this appeal. Now I'll request for prayers Jigisha Dalal Didi from Mumbai. Jigisha Didi joined Gita Pariwar in 2024 and is offering GC, Tech and Trainer Seva. Didi, Jai Shri Krishna. Didi?
Jai Shri Krishna.
Yeah.
चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं प्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। Jai Shri Krishna to everyone.
Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. Didi,
Jai
thank
Shri
you very much
Krishna.
for such a beautiful, devotional and heartfelt prayer. We all will recite Hanuman Chalisa together. Request all of you, please recite Hanuman Chalisa together, and then we'll conclude the program. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिंहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समभाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख विसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर गोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।